I have just one Christmas request. Please don't bring Rocco Becht to Gainesville.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hope everybody's having a great holiday weekend. Hope everybody has off of work. That would be dope. I am Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find me here every day hosting Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And Iowa State quarterback Rocco Becht entered the transfer portal out of Iowa State. Before we even talk about anything else, I will say this. I think Penn State is the most likely option, right? Matt Campbell, who was the head coach at Iowa State and obviously at the much more prestigious Toledo, just want to throw that out there. Prior to that one, Matt Campbell took the job at Penn State, and Matt Campbell brought offensive coordinator Taylor Mauser with him. He also brought defensive coordinator John Heacock with him, which was a questionable decision in my opinion. Unless John's changing his whole philosophy for years, then sure, do it. But Rocco Becht entered the transfer portal. His father, Anthony Becht, just got hired to lead the UFL's Orlando Storm. Rocco's girlfriend apparently goes to UF. So there's plenty of reasons to go, hey, maybe Rocco wants to be in Florida. Maybe. Great question, right? And maybe he does. I'm sure UCF has an opening, or USF, right? Byrum Brown's in the transfer portal. I don't want Rocco Becht in Florida. Okay. Plain and simple, because he's not good enough. I'll say it. It's honestly, it's that. Rocco makes, and the reason I brought up, Toledo, Matt Campbell before, went to Toledo. Matt Campbell was the coach at Toledo when I was there. And because of that, I watch Iowa State games all the time. And because of that, I will watch Penn State games all the time. And I have watched a lot of Iowa State games where I've seen Rocco and I go, what the hell is this kid doing? Because there are a lot of, he makes some good plays. I'm not saying he's terrible and awful, but I am going to say that he played in the Big 12, and the Big 12 is usually a lot more lenient when it comes to having boneheaded plays, or where it comes to having just these stretches of just, again, consistent, what the hell are you doing moments. And Rocco this year did look a lot better than he's looked in years past, but still did not look as consistently good as you would hope for from a guy that's as experienced as he is, by the way, because Rocco's got 1,300 pass attempts in his career. He should look really good. He should look really experienced. And again, playing in the Big 12, playing with a decent supporting cast at Iowa State, good running game. I would hope that you're looking really good, right? But there were just some stretches where Rocco just consistently made some really, really boneheaded plays. And I don't know how you, I don't know. I know the highlight tape looks good, right? I've seen people sharing the highlight tape on Twitter. I've had it sent to me. I've seen it in my comments section. I've seen the Rocco Becht highlight tape. You know what else I've seen? Rocco Becht play football for full games. I'm sorry. If we're talking about, hey, let's get ourselves a guy, I don't think it's Rocco Becht. I've seen far too many just horrible games from him. Far too many boneheaded plays from him. I can't look at him and just go, that's the guy that I want leading the program, and that's the guy that I think will succeed in the SEC. I can't. And look, the next segment, we're going to talk about Jaden Craig from Harvard, right? And people are going to go, well, how can you say that you can't see Rocco Becht doing it, but you can see Jaden Craig doing it? Here's the thing. I don't know if I could see Jaden Craig doing it, right? But I would rather, at this point, take a swing on an unknown that might be bad than a swing on a known that I'm pretty sure is going to not work out the way we want him to. Again, like I know the highlight tape looks really good, right? But watch full games. Jeez Louise. There are times where he looks like he's still a true freshman. And like I mentioned, 1,300 pass attempts already. There was a 4-game stretch this year, again, in the Big 12, which sucks, right? I think most of us can agree. Big 12 sucks, okay? And it's especially not where good defenses are bred. And there was a 4-game stretch this year where Rocco Becht had 4 total touchdowns and 9 turnovers. Okay? He had 0. It started against Colorado, which like it was Colorado, BYU, Arizona State, TCU. So like some of the better defenses in the conference, right? Not Texas Tech. They didn't play Texas Tech. He got to avoid Texas Tech this year. So some of the better defenses in the conference, which are like they would be at best average in the SEC. BYU maybe they got a great defense, but I think the other ones it's like all right, they'd be like at best average in the SEC. They're not world beaters. But you go to the Colorado game and he had 0 touchdowns, he had a pick, and he had a fumble. The next week, you have the BYU game, right? He had 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and a fumble. Okay? Then you go to Arizona State. He had 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, and he had a pick. Then you go to TCU, and he had 1 passing touchdown, 2 interceptions, and that's it. No rushing, nothing. Also, by the way, in those games, he averaged 6 yards a pass, 8.6 yards a pass for BYU, 5 yards a pass, and then 4.5 yards per pass. Completed 54% of his passes, 66% of his passes, 48% of his passes, and 36% of his passes. And look, I get it. He wasn't fully healthy this whole season, right? But you look at every year for Rocco Becht, and he's got a stretch of games where you're like, what is going on? He's got a stretch of games where he's completing 40% of his passes, 35% of his passes. That's in the Big 12. Where typically it's easier to come across those completions, right? They play in space more in the Big 12. I'm sorry, dude. That is genuinely a really tough sell for me to just being someone that has watched a lot of Iowa State and going, Rocco Becht? That's a tough sell. Because again, I've watched him do a lot of boneheaded things. I've watched him start games, he's 6 for 7, 6 for 8. And then he has a stretch where he's like 2 for 11. Like he does it. He is so hot and cold. And he's had like pretty decent offensive coordinators throughout his career. This isn't like Graham Mertz, right? With Graham Mertz, the film wasn't awesome, right? But came on the show and said, you know what? At least I could say he's had awful coordinator play or awful coordinators. We don't get to say that for Rocco Becht. We're just looking at someone that is generally pretty inconsistent. I'm sorry, if we're talking about paying for a transfer portal quarterback, I don't want someone that is a proven inconsistent at best. I would rather swing on an unknown that I can go, all right, maybe he'll work. But I would rather swing on that than a proven meh. We are going to talk about Jaden Craig next, like I mentioned earlier. We're going to talk about him when we get back with Locked On Gators. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sunday moves fast, and so can you. Making money, by the way. One big play, suddenly everything feels different in an NFL game, right? And for Giants fans like myself, that one big play is that the opening kick happens, and we know we've lost the game already. It's crazy. It's crazy. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. So, if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. And we're going to spend this segment talking about Jaden Craig, the Harvard quarterback. And let's rip this Band-Aid off right away, right? If you're going to do the no kids from this conference thing, just say that no one cares. I don't care. You don't care. Actually, they could get over it. Now that we got that out of the way, Jaden Craig entered the transfer portal out of Harvard, and he is someone that I've spoken to that scouts are intrigued by, but got to see him against tougher competition, right? Like kids aren't getting drafted out of Harvard anymore, mostly because the transfer portal, right? You can come and prove yourself against even if it's group 5, group 6 guys. Like you can come and prove yourself there. And that's what scouts want to see there, right? So, and like I mentioned, I don't know if Jaden Craig is someone that's going to find success at Florida, right? But like I've said, compared to Rocco Becht, like I would rather have someone that we kind of just take a swing on. Maybe it hits, maybe it doesn't, but I'd rather have someone like that come in, compete, and then move on, as opposed to a Rocco Becht that, again, I don't think he's going somewhere unless he's told he's the starter, right? I've said that before too. I don't even remember if I mentioned it during the last segment. But we went live the other day, and I mentioned, like Rocco Becht, like I don't know if he's going somewhere unless he's the starting quarterback, just flat out. And I don't want Florida to say, yeah, he's starting quarterback, right? He's going to come here and compete and he wins, and so be it. But I don't think he's going somewhere unless he's a starting QB. Whereas like a Jaden Craig, I think this is the kind of guy that you can get that has experience that you could say, all right, now it's your time to come and compete. Like I think those are the kinds of guys that you can get. The Ivy League players, the group of 6 players. I do think there are a group of 6 players that will be looking for a step up and just go, all right, like I think most group of 6 players will be able to step up to the SEC and say, yeah, I'm not going to be guaranteed this. And I get that. I'm a group of 6 player. This is the SEC. There's no guarantee I'll be good. I think a lot of them do recognize that. I think you get like Byrum Brown, who I think is going to wind up at Auburn, and he's going to be a starter because he's got his head coach going from USF to Auburn. I think there's certain instances like that, right? But for the most part, I think that you look at these smaller school guys that are taking a step up, and those are guys that you could see taking the battle. But that's also why I think it's really interesting when we talk about these group of 6 quarterbacks and below, and people just go, well, I don't want him because he's not experienced at the Power 4 level. So, okay, well, you're not getting an experienced guy at the Power 4 level. If the true argument is, hey, we're going to have an open competition at quarterback, you're probably not getting a Power 4 quarterback, a Power 4 experienced starting quarterback, because those guys are probably going to get like someone is going to give them some kind of guarantee, right? I think that's the thing to talk about, really, is that when we talk about the Rocco Bechts, when we talk about, even like Colton Josephs, like the high-level G6 QBs, when we talk about them, someone is going to give them an opportunity that is more of a guarantee than Florida is willing to give them if Florida is truly saying this is an open quarterback competition, which I do believe it is. And I think a lot of these guys that are in the portal that have this proven experience or are proven good, I don't think that you're going to be able to get them. I just dragged a whole chair. That I don't think you're going to be able to get them. And that's fine, right? I think that you can look at a guy like Jaden Craig and say, all right, he's got 800 pass attempts in his career. He's been productive and has 2 years of starting experience. Both years were really good. I mean, in those 2 years combined, he's completing 61% of his passes. When you also, I will say this, when you adjust for drops, that number climbs significantly to about 69%. Nice. But he's like, this is the argument of like, oh, he's playing with Ivy League defenses. It's like he's also playing with Ivy League receivers. He's also playing with Ivy League coordinators. He's also like all that is just, that is what he is. If you think he's an SEC caliber quarterback, or if you think he's got that potential, you take your swing and you go, all right, well, you've got a better, like you're going to be facing SEC defenses now. And that's different. And that changes things. But you're also going to have an SEC supporting cast. And so that does mitigate a lot of that difference. And so when you look at Jaden Craig, you see a guy that has 2 years of starting quarterback experience. He's got, again, completing, 61% of his passes in those 2 years. He's got 47 touchdowns to 48 touchdowns to 10 interceptions in those time. He's got 5,000 yards in those 2 years, right? And again, with drops, that completion percentage climbs significantly. Okay. He had 8.1% of his passes were dropped in 2024. 9.1% of his passes were dropped this year. He doesn't have many passes bad out of the line. Has done a generally good job of evading pressures or evading sacks. Not much of a runner, so you're not going to get that. But again, like neither is Aaron Philo, a guy that we're talking about a good bit. Like you don't need to be a runner to work for Buster Faulkner. We've talked about this 1,000 times, right? He did what he did with Georgia Tech and Haynes King because Haynes King was his quarterback, not because he wanted to run the quarterback 1,000 times a game. This is what I have to do to win, and I want to win. At Harvard, the offense was very play action heavy, and Jaden Craig dominated the deep ball. Really did. I mean, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on passes of 20-plus yards downfield this year. That's dominating the deep ball. And I know people are now, because DJ Lagway didn't work out, people are now like, oh, I don't care about the deep ball. Like, or I don't care if he is this great deep ball passer. I don't care what the numbers say. Going out there doing it's different, right? Which absolutely. But again, like I mentioned earlier in the segment, there are scouts. I don't really talk to college scouts like that. There are scouts that want to see Jaden Craig at the next level, considering him for the NFL. If that doesn't tell you that he's at least got promise, I don't know what will. Right? Like if that doesn't tell you he's got promise, then I think you've already just made up your mind. Plain and simple. Like this again, Harvard is not like, they don't have these elite football players. They don't have these elite dynamic playmakers. It's not like they had guys picking up tons of yards after the catch. I mean, they had as a team 1,000 yards after the catch this year. Just want to point out, that's not exactly amazing. Just want to point that one out there. Florida had, 1,500, 1,400 in 24. And then in 2025, Florida had about 1,300. Dynamic playmakers there. And again, Florida, like, obviously the passing attack was not good at all, right? You've got a guy that you can bring in, has experience to compete. I'm good with it, honestly. If he wins the battle, then he deserves it. And my issue is bringing in a guy that I don't think is great and saying, all right, here's the job. Go ahead. I know everybody wants to say, oh, I want this proven thing, proven that. You're not getting proven and an open quarterback competition. welcome to college football in 2026. You want a guy that has experience, he's going to be unproven at this level. And that's it. That's why you bring in these guys and you say, hey, we're going to have three guys compete for this spot. Hell, 4 or 5, everybody in the room. I don't care. Going to compete for this spot. Whoever wins it, wins it. That's it. Like, whoever wins it is our best quarterback available. Might not be amazing, right? But that's the best we have available. And so that's what we're going to roll with. And Jaden Craig can contribute to that quarterback competition. We're going to talk about Aaron Philo next because, of course, he is – a lot of people think he's going to be a Florida Gator. We'll talk about that when we get back with Locked On Gators. There's nothing quite like college sports, right? I mean, I love them. I'll tell you this. College football is easily, including concerts, college football is the best experience to go to in my experience. Concerts is probably second. Then it's college basketball. I think that's the setup. And I say that because, like, I've been to college basketball games where I'm like, oh, this game kind of sucks. I've never been to a college football game where I'm like, oh, I don't love the atmosphere that we have, right? I've never been to a concert where I've been like, oh, I don't love the atmosphere. But every time I go to any of those, I use Game Time. Game Time gives advantages back to the fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college tickets, concert tickets, and experiences in just a few taps. Take the guesswork out of buying college tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free reviews on the podcast and on YouTube. And to wrap up today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about Aaron Philo. Aaron Philo is, of course, the Georgia Tech backup quarterback under Haynes King. That, I mean, pretty much from the moment Buster Faulkner was announced as, hey, probably coming to Florida, it was also, hey, Aaron Philo is probably a name for Florida Gators fans to keep an eye on. And maybe so, right? Philo, again, is the backup behind Haynes King, but he's also very different from Haynes King. Aaron Philo is not going to be your battering ram quarterback, your Sam Ehlinger. Aaron Philo is going to be Aaron Philo. I don't think he's got spectacular tools, right? I don't look at the very limited film that we've seen from Aaron Philo. I don't think I've looked at that and go, oh, that's an NFL quarterback. I do think that's a guy that could be a very good college quarterback. Maybe an NFL guy. I'm just saying I haven't seen the NFL stuff from him yet. But, you know, we watched him in 2024. He got Power 4 experience against Virginia Tech, Miami, NC State. This year, no Power 4 opponent that he played. But throughout his career, he's performed at a decently high level against anybody that he's played against again. And I mean, in 2024, it's crazy. He played in 4 games and his receivers had 7 drops. Just want to throw that one out there. That's nuts. And so looking at Aaron Philo, like, he's got the comfort with Buster Faulkner. That matters. The offense for Georgia Tech when Aaron Philo was in there looked very different from when Haynes King was in there. That matters. It shows, and that matters more for Buster Faulkner, just to show, like, he's not a system guy, unless by system you mean winning. That's it. Okay. And there's not many updates on Aaron Philo. There probably won't be for another week when the transfer portal officially opens on January 2nd. And I don't speak in absolutes. I do think Aaron Philo will wind up as a Florida Gator, but I don't speak in absolutes, especially when we're talking about recruiting and or the transfer portal. But I will say I'm not head over heels for the film. He's got enough arm to make any of the throws that the team needs, or any of the throws the team will ask of him in the playbook. He's mobile enough to pick up some chunks on the ground. You know, he's got 16 carries in his career. 4 of them went for over 10 yards, which first down, right? And so I think Aaron Philo has, like, enough physical tools. I will say that a lot of people, when they talk about Aaron Philo, they bring up, because I see people go, no, like Aaron Philo is going to be our starting quarterback. And then you ask why. And the answer is usually something along the lines of, well, he's been with Buster Faulkner for 2 years. So he's comfortable in the offense. We don't really know what the offense is going to be. We'll say that. So we don't truly know that. But also, I don't know if that's true, right? I could also argue that of Aaron Philo versus Tramel Jones versus whoever else is in that quarterback competition, whether they are currently in Gainesville or not, Tramel Jones is the one that has seen an SEC defense in game before. Like, I know Aaron Philo played P4 ball. The ACC is not the SEC. Okay. Maybe the top of the ACC is comparable to the SEC, right? The very, very top. But that's the thing that makes these conferences so different. And that's the thing that makes the SEC the best conference, is that from top to bottom, like, you're looking at teams that can pop anybody at any time. Bottom of the ACC, you're not getting that, right? Boston College, not popping anybody anytime. Stanford, not popping anybody anytime. That's the big difference between these conferences. But Tramel is the one that's seen an SEC defense in game before. If Aiden Warner's part of the battle, Aiden Warner has seen SEC defenses in game before. Hell, Aiden Warner played probably the best one by playing Texas in 2024 at Texas. Tramel Jones is the one that has built chemistry with these receivers, whoever's left of them, by the time, spring opens. I think Tramel Jones is more physically talented than Aaron Philo. Yes, Aaron Philo has comfort in the system, and that will be an advantage to just know what Buster Faulkner likes, even if it's a different system, right? But I don't think that gives him this huge leg up. I think that's an advantage he has in the battle. I think physical ability is the advantage Tramel Jones has in the battle. Guys are supposed to have strengths and weaknesses, right? Advantages, disadvantages. It's going to be part of it. What you do is you figure out, hey, who mitigates their disadvantages the best, and who takes advantage of their advantages the best. And that's how you figure out, hey, this is our guy. And so if Aaron Philo is going to be in this quarterback competition, which I do think he will be, so be it. Compete. Again, I am very comfortable with saying I trust Buster Faulkner. I trust John Sumrall to want to win. Right? I trust John Sumrall to go, all right, can this quarterback win me football games? If the answer is yes, then sure, we'll give him a shot. I trust Buster Faulkner to go, okay, can this guy score points for me? Okay, then we'll give him a shot. I trust them to build a room with a couple of options, have an open competition, and whoever wins the open competition, whoever deserves to be the starting quarterback, they're going to be the starting quarterback. And I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with that process, because I do believe that these coaches care about nothing more than winning right now. And so I'm comfortable with the process of let them find whoever their guy, whoever they think gives them the best chance of winning. And that's who it is, not starting a guy because of his star ranking or because his feelings might get hurt or his NIL or anything like that. Play the guy who's going to win. Play the guy who's going to score. I think the staff will do that. I'm comfortable with the battle. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free. Rivers in the podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back Monday at the absolute latest with Locked On Gators. For Locked On Gators, I am Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work on New York Giants on SI and swampsignal.substack.com. And I'll see you all next time.